Okay. We made it. Hey. Hi, everybody. It is a crazy day around here. So, we're a little legitimately late today. Check this out. It is absolutely pouring. There's tornadoes today. Woo. In Tennessee. Woo. So they're freaking out. They don't know what to do. I lived in Indiana as a kid. I'm like, oh, there's a tornado. Is there? Okay. Mm. Get to watch me eat. My breakfast finally. Mm. Hello, somebody. Happy Wednesday. Sorry, we were a little late this morning because it's pouring. There's tornadoes. The kid is homesick. It's a whole thing. Let's see how the video is doing. Huh. 4 of 10. What up, Geek Girl 2000? How's your Wednesday going? 39 views in, what, an hour? Not bad. And we got a sub. So, alright. How's the weather there? It is absolutely pouring here today. That's like the biggest thing going on. It's storming. And there's tornadoes afoot. You know. And I'm finally eating my breakfast, so. Illinois sucks. I've heard tell. I mentioned a minute ago, when I was a kid, I lived in Indiana, so like, here in Tennessee, they're having tornadoes today, and they are absolutely flipping out. And I'm not, you know. Bet you get tornadoes in Illinois. Bet you. Sorry to make you watch me eat. You want to see the rain? It's absolutely pouring out there. Cats and dogs and whatnot. So, it's funny I kind of haven't had my breakfast yet, because this week's video is called Where's My Sandwich? Yep, and both winter and rain aggravates my arthritis and fibromyalgia. Ugh. That's a rough combination, so your muscles and your joints hurt. Wait, what? I seem to have misplaced a. What up, Philological? I seem to have misplaced a very important part of my kit, y'all. But I got water. And other provisions. But I seem to be missing my delivery device. Might have to go back out to the kitchen for just 1 second. And it might not be just 1 second, because like I say, kiddo is homesick from school. Like, I don't know. The latest theory is that the poor thing managed to get poison sumac from the yard somehow. They were cutting stuff off the fence the other day, and a couple of the kids got it. But he was not out there because he was homesick that day. He was sick that day anyway. He was in the house with a fever. So how in the world he managed to get, worse than anybody. I don't know. It blows my mind. So he was sick. I think he had strep throat. He had a fever and a sore throat over the weekend. So we kept him home Monday. On Sunday, they did the yard. And by Monday, he was covered in itchy spots too. And like, that poor thing has had that before. He had this awful rash as a toddler that turned out to be an egg allergy. So And he just kind of breaks out in spots sometimes. Poor thing. Mosquitoes love him. It's just a nightmare. So the poison sumac was not my first thought with that one. Also, he wasn't outside. I just don't. Anyway, he's home today. He's still home today. He's here with me. He woke up feeling better this morning, but he was sleeping hard at 7:30, and I like that poor boy had so much trouble getting to sleep last night, and he finally, you know, found the combination that allowed him to get to sleep between calamine lotion and Benadryl and just the whole. Oh, so I just let him sleep, and he woke up at like 9:30. No, I guess he must have woke up a little after 10 o'clock, feeling better. Oh, what up, Mary? I didn't even see you. I'm sitting here talking about my kid. Like, so he's sick, but it's not like, he's up and running around and everything. Consequently, when I run out to the kitchen here in a minute, I'm going to try my best to be very right back, but I might not be very right back in case he wants something, so. I did not mean to leave anything out there. I can't believe I left anything out there. Oh, you know what? It might be on the bed. Hang on. I'm going to go get my important delivery device. One second. Yeah, there it is. All that noise about leaving the room, and then I didn't need to leave the room. Whatever. So how's everybody's Wednesday going, huh? Yeah, hey, Scott. We were late today, but it's legit. It's super legit because my kid is homesick, and it is pouring rain here. It's storming here like an hour ago. No. Yeah, about an hour and a half ago. We were in the basement, so sunny there today. Well, good. Maybe there's hope for us yet. Your cat's vet bill? Oh my god, is the cat okay? Need to take her back to the vet for a checkup. Yeah. Oh my god. I want to show you guys his cat, but I want to show you my mess of a bedroom. He is absolutely splayed out on the bed. How much do I spend $1,800 on a $40 cat? I'm updating the software on my girlfriend's desktop right now. Dude, do you just do weekly work? It seems like you're doing that every week. Weekly girlfriend computer work or what? I wish I had given away so much of my money. So yeah, I'm finally getting breakfast at noon. And that worked out for me. The 2 weeks video was super short. Been running around like a crazy person. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, And pressure doesn't help anything, it's really, especially for me, I have to do one thing at a time. I mean, shit. So this has been bugging me out all day because I just want to do this, and I had to wake the little old lady up and rush her to the basement. Yes, I work to keep her computer a well-oiled, smoothly running machine. What does she use it for? I mean, just to be nosy. Is she a gamer or is she I don't know. I figure she's not super, she probably doesn't use it to surf TikTok. You know what I'm saying? That's a phone thing. I don't know. Tupperware projects, her Farmville game. Does she sell Tupperware? Is that what that means? That's interesting. Right on. Yeah, hopefully. Being generous in the first place is how we make a better society. Right, but so, everybody does have to hold up their end of the bargain there. I do agree with that. It is strawberry and cream Greek yogurt with vanilla in it. Yeah. Didn't get my eggs today. Oh well. And normally I really don't like to eat on camera, but like I say, it's just been an insane morning. And I got an email a little while ago saying that they're going to keep the high schoolers at the high school. And I thought, good. That's where they should be. Right. Yeah. It's lunchtime here. Yeah. But so, yeah, I've just had a crazy morning. And I was going to take little one to the med check this morning. He was sleeping so hard. I just let him sleep. And then he slept until like 10 o'clock and he woke up feeling better. So I'm going to go take a long, hard look at him after I get off of here. I'll tell you that much. And spend some time with the poor baby. I can't believe he's been home all week. But so, yeah, this week's video was a little short, but actually my husband found me that clip of that. I didn't know who Benny Johnson was. I had never heard of this man. But apparently he's been out there in the conservative ecosystem for quite some time. And I said this in response to one of those boilerplate trans activist comments, but it applies here too. Say what you will about my writing. At least I put the words together myself. Jeez Louise. Benny Johnson's content is really immature. It's very 14-year-old boy edgelord stuff. And like, not even in a way that seems to be terrifically popular. Okay. I really did just kind of get a surface glance at him. I'm going to admit that because he's a 2020 election truther. What the fuck more do you need to know? And, but, he did get fired at least a couple of different times for plagiarism. So there's also that. He's not even an honest conspiracy theorist. Which I do believe there is such a thing. Some people do really believe that crap. But, like, Megan Easter 2020, Aaron Thomas bravely stayed on the air in Chattanooga to warn people of the serious tornadoes that rampaged the area. She saved many lives. Right on. This is East Tennessee, so we're up in the mountains. We really don't get tornadoes around here. Right, you never heard of him either. It's funny that you have Philological. Where did you encounter him, I wonder? Like, serious question. Because, some of this anti-feminist stuff coming from some of these conservative pundits, I literally just don't watch conservative media. I don't. Which is my favorite thing about this video, is it gave me the opportunity to finally just say, yes, sex differences matter. And it does not mean that I owe you a sandwich. That's not where that goes. That's not any media. That's your assumption. That's not where that has to go. And I really take issue with people assuming that because I say stuff like that, I must therefore be a conservative. It's like, no. Observing material facts does not, mean I think women belong in the kitchen. That's not what I'm saying. I subscribe to like all the rightoid folks I can. Right on. I like to know what conservatives are actually saying. Yeah, rather than a leftist caricature of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he is not one. I actually, I don't know. I have to pick and choose because, okay. Full disclosure, I used to come home to Rush Limbaugh on the radio when I was in elementary school. Okay, like, I have had, my mother used to keep the Conservative Chronicle in her house, okay? Where all of these people go to publish their bullshit articles about whatever it is that they want to, wank about that week. And I have been steeped. She has a whole bookshelf full of like Ann Coulter's books and Glenn Beck's books and like, okay, so, and O'Reilly, she has Bill O'Reilly's political books too. I get the same stuff within the trans community. I believe biological sex is real, so I must agree with traditional gender roles. Right. And these are the people who insist on saying that the two are completely unrelated. So that would seem like a weird reaction to that, wouldn't it? For someone who supposedly believes the sex and gender are just completely, not interdependent on each other whatsoever. That would be a weird assumption to make. It's almost as if they don't really believe that. So the further I get from it in my own life, the harder it is for me to wrap my mind around living in like an inverted worldview where everything is just turned inside out. And you think you're clever for having done that. Look at how I can connect this shit up. It's like, yeah, but that just because you can make something make logical sense does not mean that it's true. I think it's because a lot of conservatives frame the fact of biological sex as part of their rhetoric. Yeah. They have, that's forced teaming again, right? We've learned so much collectively over the last 20 years or so, as far as like rhetorical tactics, right? That's like the forced teaming of somebody is for gay marriage, so they must be pro-trans, right? And I just reject all that bullshit. Conservatives want to make gender roles as factual as biological sex. No, yeah, they assume that they are. Right. And see, that's where we run into trouble, is because I think that socially, those who are reactive to that and want to reject that have had to go all or nothing. You can't give it any wiggle room, which is what I've been talking about in this week's video. Like the cons want the fact that only females give birth to mean that the only role women should have in society is as mothers. Right. Which I think is going to be the topic of next week's video. Like, why would people want to have kids anyway? Like, what's the big deal with that? Why is it such a, spoiler alert, the biological imperative, but, that's for next week. But so what I'm saying is, I don't think that the role, I don't think it's so clean cut. And we were talking about that last week, because I don't. Experience and observation have told me that it's just not so clean cut as, it's not quite so clean cut. It isn't. As what I was saying, where you have your biosex and then you build everything on top of that. Because it is, but like, you don't do all that building, Their nature does some of that for you. Like, you're going to develop along certain given lines as well. Am I making sense here? Like, so that line is sort of blurry anyway. And I feel like they're taking advantage, like just riotous advantage of that, in bad faith, of course, because they're trying to convince us all that because that line is fuzzy, biosex is imaginary, which, no. You can fudge it quite a bit, but like at the end of the day, like I say, you can live and dress and think, however, whatever that means, live as the opposite sex. But like, your underlying material facts of your body do not change. So that just demonstrates the floor, I guess. I find the drive to have kids quite interesting. I've never felt it, and maybe I will in the future, but it seems like that desire shapes one's worldview in quite substantial ways. Right, and it is shared by many to varying degrees, right? And the reason for that is like being alive. It is just part and parcel to the whole life, continuing itself thing. Life wants to remain alive, and you can't do that forever. So you have to, make certain that a part of you continues to live on. Like, that's just which is, one of the things that's so sad to me when I hear about men or women, groups of them, who've just like, you know what, fuck it. I don't need to pair off. I don't need to pair bond. I don't need to reproduce. I don't need a family. Fuck all that shit. I don't need it. And I'm having a good life, which is great. Maybe they are. But they're just the masses of them. I'm like, that's sad. There's a failure. Like, that's like a rejection of life in that way. Okay. And I'm not even sitting here going, oh, you're going to miss out on the joys of having children. No. Like, it's deeper than that. It's a genetic drive level that has just been turned off somehow. When it's en masse, on a personal level, like I say, I think it varies from person to person like anything. Yeah, I'm suspicious when someone says they don't want to pair bond after saying they're done with the opposite sex or society or whatever. Right. It's always anti-natalist at the end. It's always nihilist at the end, right? And like, we can't let nihilism win. That's like, I mean, okay, I'm going to date myself here, an 80s kid talking, alert. Like losing your horse in the swamps of sadness, okay? You can't just let inertia take you. That's awful. Sour grapes thing, like they're giving up. Exactly. And I feel like I do. I feel like the kid just sitting there screaming, "Artax!" You can't force them to like not just lay back and let inertia take them. It's terrible. I don't want to pair bond, but that's neat. There's nothing wrong with it. The opposite. It's been shown to be good for you. Right. And oh my God, I'm just sitting here watching that tarp fill with water, y'all. I have to go out there and poke a hole in it. I'm sorry. I will be right back. Again. For real this time. I'm going to be right back. Wait, did I just leave my scissors? Ah! Yes. Okay. This would be a lot easier if I bring something to cut with. I'll be right back. So oh, the low places in the tarp fill with water, and then it weighs the whole thing down. And I've had the whole thing collapse before that way. For me, my pair bonding instinct is overwhelmingly strong and powerful. I've been with the same woman for over 20 years now. That's awesome. Great. Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think there's any one way for everyone. That's what I'm saying. Which is, I guess, at the core of it is what makes me not a conservative. At the end of the day. I don't know if it's the same thing as pair bonding, but I would like people to live with long-term as friends. I don't know. That sounds like a family. I mean, if you were related to those people by blood, that would be a family, right? A good family. And if you're not, who cares? Just found family, I guess. Right, that's fine. I'm just saying. Like, you don't have to give birth to those people to be related to them. They could be your brothers or your cousins or whatever. I don't know. These days we have all sorts of fun family arrangements, like uncles who live with their brother and take care of their kids or whatever. I've seen stuff like that. Your sister's wedding is on Saturday. Oh. Congrats to her. That's exciting. I hope the weather works out for him. That's about all I can think about right now. Well, thank you once again for sitting through the ads. Every nickel in my pocket helps. I'm over halfway to a payout now. Whee! Things keep going this well. In a couple months, I'm going to have $100. I messed up my hair. Do I have any clip over here? No. That would make too much sense. Dog on it. Really, I'm in my room today, so everything is like right here. I don't have any more clips on the card. Where did they all go? Mysteries of life, huh? Ugh. And you wanted to stick up less, and I made it stick up more. Doing a speech at the reception. Oh, that's exciting. So you had to write something else? I mean, did you write it, or are you just going to wing it? I mean, she's your sister. It's not like you won't be able to think of anything to say. One presumes. But so, yeah. I've got some big ideas. I'm going to write them out later today. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. About 5 minutes. That's not so bad. Do you do public speaking much? It sounds like probably you don't, right? But yeah, so it is difficult to suss out how sex differences matter, right? And to what extent that is, and what the spectrum of that might be. I don't do public speaking, never needed to. Yeah. Fortunately, I have a little fear of it. Well, that's good. Not like you've been avoiding it. You just don't have any reason to. I mean, most people don't, I suppose, unless you go looking for it. And I don't know. Personally, I feel that feminism, the philosophy with female interests at the forefront ought to be a big player in determining how exactly sex differences matter. Like the whole throw like a girl. Wait. Yes, I remember reading a paper on sex differences at basic physical tasks, and it showed how even there could be some social factors that play like the whole. Yeah. And apparently women will pick up an object differently if it's dropped on the floor compared to men. Well, yeah. You have to think about what is behind you in a way that I don't think men necessarily do before you bend over, and how you're dressed and all that stuff. So, yeah. That would all be obviously social stuff. But as we were talking about last week, there's some stuff that's not, right? Or some stuff that's maybe triggered by social stuff and is internal. Certain circumstances might trigger certain thought patterns or certain behavior patterns. Literally genetically, you can literally turn your genes on and off by environmental factors, right? Like, this is just science. I'm riffing on it a little bit here. I'm connecting some dots here, but tell me I'm wrong. When I read about epigenetics a few years ago, I was like, oh, well, shit, that might explain all, everything, just about everything that's happened to me in the last few years, Also, as far as picking stuff up off the floor, I have short legs. The floor for me is literally 2 feet away. So I've been known to just swoop down and get it. No. I don't care so much. I got this attention getting caboose though, so like I say, you have to be aware of who is in your proximity and which direction are you facing, and or we stand a short queen. Yeah, right. I got a long waist though, so I got all the way up to 5'4". Woo. I wasn't the shortest person in my family till my grandma passed. What else? So I don't know if that counts as, I guess that counts as a biological difference, but it simply creates a difference in your calculus, if the floor is just really not that far away, and I'm flexible enough that I can literally just, the vast majority of people who use the word epigenetics have no understanding of what this is. That is what I'm talking about, though, right? That shit is fascinating to me. How traits both get passed on or not from one generation, like created in a generation and then passed down or not. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's a point mutation that then doesn't get passed on, and that's also interesting. Yeah, I have short legs specifically. Yeah, for like my height, proportionally. It's all right. They work. I have always. A woman in my class had that. She looked average height sitting down, but really short when she stood up. Was trippy. Okay, I'm not quite that bad. It's not so as you look at me and go, wow, those are some short legs, but like proportionally. I mean, and again, as a woman, as a girl growing up, you are encouraged. And I mean, again, I feel like part of this might come from inside because you do just, I mean, I don't know that it's all. Because how would it be most effective, to affect somebody's thinking? Would it be most effective to try to completely counteract what their natural inclinations are? Or would it be more effective to go with them and play with them, play off them? Okay, I do. I think young girls are naturally self-conscious. And, a lot of stuff just feeds into that and just piles on top of that. But anyway, we're never going to know that at this rate, are we? And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. But I do. That's a conservative argument. The culture is downstream from biology. And I think it's a feedback loop. I do. I think they play into and off of one another, both in a larger sense and in a personal development sense. And like, I'm sympathetic to this idea up to a point. And what point is it for you? I'm truly curious. Where is your point of no for conservatism? Because I know where mine is, and I suspect they're different, but I mean, if you want to think about it to a point, everything is downstream from biology. For me, I think it's important to acknowledge that there are going to be outliers. Yes! Who should not be messed with. Right. Like, we should be left to do our thing. Yes. Yes. And at the same time, the outliers do not prove that the group doesn't exist. Right? Just, yeah. They both should not be exterminated, nor should they be taken as proof that the whole group thing is a myth. Cultural influence in our perception of science. I'm sorry for all the ad breaks. That's weird. They did that to us last week, too. Be like 2 in the first half hour. I don't know why they do that. I put, just average. I choose the average option, so we should get one every 45 minutes or so. I don't know. Personally, I think if, say, traditional gender roles are just an expression of biological realities, they'd end up as emergent properties tendency if people are left to their own devices anyway. So I have so much stigma against gender nonconforming people. Heard that rumble of thunder? Right, yeah, it's storming over here, I'm telling you. My personal theory, hoarding of resources. And I sort of think the whole transgender shit is just a line of best fit. Some reformed version of the trad life is probably acceptable for a plurality of people in society, but not even a majority. Thunderstorms are very seldom here, but we do get them. Really? I hear it rains all the time up there. Right. No, and that is a big part of it. It's on the surface level. I don't think most people have any trouble with the idea of the nuclear family on its face. My brain read that as trans storms. Oh, that's great. I don't know that I've ever seen one of those. And thank goodness. You know, the more I think about that, the more it sounds kind of scary. I have so much stigma against gender nonconforming people. And you know, the line that I always hear is because people are afraid of what they don't understand and what's different and whatever. But like, I don't know. I don't think that that's true anymore, or to a certain extent. I feel like, I mean, okay. Part of it is that there's just so many more people on the planet, right? And we all know this. The planet's basically just like brimming with people here and there and everywhere. And you have to work to find desolate countryside with nobody in it, right? So that's part of it. And another part of it is I see like, okay, that's what it was. I think liminality explains a lot of the stigma against gender nonconformity. Like uncanniness. Right, like people are made nervous by what they don't understand. But like, okay. It was don't laugh. Or do. It was Hotel Transylvania. Have you guys seen this movie, which apparently was good enough they made 3 more of them? I didn't think so. It wasn't bad, though. Anyways, I'm late to the party on this one, as always. We watched it the other day because he's homesick. And, like, I'd never seen it. But, like, that's literally the plot of that movie. That the monsters, leaving out the fact that vampires drink blood, okay? That was, like, just such a major plot hole because, like, why are the vampires, monsters in the first place? Why are they, pariah from society? Why don't people want them around? Because they drink human blood. No, it's because they're magic, and it's blah, blah, blah. It's afraid of what you don't understand. It's that bit. How many stories have we had with this moral, basically, that's not true, that's a mistake? Don't judge a book by its cover, blah, 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 blah. That sometimes what you don't understand can turn out to be the best, most awesome, most interesting thing. And I don't know, it's not just that movie. I, see evidence around that, collectively we've started to understand that people are curious about shit they don't understand. Not necessarily made so nervous by it. I don't know. That when you see somebody doing something weird, I find, even in my personal experience over the last 30 years, I'm a weirdo. And people are more inclined, just gradually over time to come up to me and ask me what the fuck I'm doing than to say something nasty. Which is kind of weird, really. It's not just what they don't understand, it's ambiguity. And sitting in between categories. Right, I guess. And I don't know. Maybe it's just this more inquisitive mindset of you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go categorize that then. You know what I mean? For sure. I think we're much more accepting of deviance nowadays. Right. Deviation, I would even say. Because deviance has a negative connotation to it. And we can literally just say deviation, which means the same fucking thing, and lose that. It's one of the reasons young peeps are getting more liberal. Yeah. Well, like I say, they have to be, because have you been to an urban area lately? They're brimming. It's huge, mad, just. And then you get online and you see all kinds of people who look different and sound different and have different lives from you. And I think some of the randomness of that has helped that too. Okay. If, for example, you're scrolling shorts or TikTok or whatever, and you see somebody weird looking doing something weird, that's a curiosity inducer, right? Like you've almost been trained to be like, hey, wait, what is that? You know, like it's like how the most racist areas in the UK are the ones with the fewest minorities. Yeah, right, yeah. Because I don't know. I've never understood that. It's just illogical to have solid behavioral beliefs or psychological beliefs about hundreds of millions of people that you've never met. That's just not rational, and I just have never been able to find a way to make that rational. I just can't. Even as a kid, I thought that must be wrong. That doesn't make any sense. And I was joking with some people at church last week, actually, about how nice it'll be one day in the world when we can hate people for what they do. It's a really interesting point about social media encouraging curiosity. Yeah, in that way, I think it does. That might be about like an unintentional byproduct of it. Because you come at it with this attitude. It's presented. The whole framing of it is it's there for your entertainment. It's not there to disturb you. So you're not ready to be disturbed, right? You're ready to be entertained. And that's the way you approach that. And so then you have that experience over and over and over again of seeing something weird and having it turn out to be something interesting. I'm just guessing here. Again, I'm just putting stuff together. Just connecting dots. I love to do that. It's one of my favorite games. So stop me, if you think I go too far. You can see me in the mirror. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Maybe we'll just put a blanket over the mirror anyway, because I don't need to see my messy ass room. Or perhaps a lovely shirt, or I don't know. If I have anything nice, hang on. Ah, there. The mirror is cold. It can wear a sweater. There, now you can just see me, and you don't see the room behind me. Like that's actually in front of me. Oh no, I love connecting some dots too. Right. Oh, stuff keeps me up at night, or it used to before I was exhausted every night. Now it just haunts my days, And sometimes they make videos about it. Yeah. So I don't know. I've been trying to think where that's come from. Because I personally, I have definitely noticed it over the years that people are more inclined now to like clothing, okay? I've always been one to just wear what the fuck I like because we talked about this before, okay? Like heroin chic was in when I was coming up. Look at me. We discussed my figure last week too. I can't wear men's trousers for reasons, right? For the same reason that heroin chic was never, ever, ever going to work on me. Flapper chic is never, ever, ever, all those boyish fashions are never, ever, ever going to work on me, okay? In a mini skirt, I look like I'm wearing a pillowcase, okay? Like, it's just sad. Same. Sometimes I just get a little spark and suddenly I'm sitting in bed with 10 different books up and taking a photo of all the highlighting the road. Yes! Oh my God. Heroin chic is a grim name. It is, but it's a thing. And apparently it's back. I hear tell. I do not give a fuck. And nor am I affected by that shit anymore in my life, I find. So, whew. But, because I'm just doing my thing. Benefits of being 40. But, yeah. It was a big thing back when I was coming up. This was right before everybody discovered that booties existed. Which, let me tell you, was the lesson for me, because I just kind of sat back and went, oh, so that doesn't even fucking matter at all? Oh, okay, I got this. Like, never mind then. I'm not even going to worry about it. But before that, Slim was in, and I'm just not that, right? So fashions did not work for me, is what I'm getting at. So I've always just kind of had to wear what the fuck I liked. and what worked for me. I've just always kind of had to do that. And as fashion has slowly kind of dispersed, as it has over the last 30 years, into all these little bespoke categories that then you can kind of mix and match from. So now all of a sudden, everyone is wearing what they like and what works for them. Weird. And I get more compliments on shit nowadays. I get more people talking to me about stuff that I wear in a way that I mean, the people I associated with used to be a lot younger, but it isn't always older people. It isn't always people my age or older. A lot of times it is younger people. So I do. I think that in general, there's just less of a fear of outliers, and that's partly because there's just more shit going on. And we're seeing how destructive and toxic polarization is and tribalism is. You know, that's like a big boogeyman of our day, right? Nobody wants to be the tribalist, do they? I mean, yeah, he's the asshole. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think there's less of that in general. Not to say it couldn't come back, but overall, I do. I think there's just and you know, you want to talk about taking advantage of something that's organic, you know, certain social justice movements, be kind, right? Okay, and understanding, you know, they're taking advantage of this modern mindset for political gain, which is disgusting. Which tells you about everything you need to know about them, doesn't it? You know, I say that sometimes because I truly do feel like one fact and you're done. Like, you don't need to know more than that. Like, wow. Excuse me, you know, playing political games with people's goodwill is disgusting and entirely unethical, and I just wouldn't trust anyone like that with anything. So I don't need to know anymore about what you have to say about anything. So, I don't know. In general, I like to connect the dots. I like to take a more nuanced, like chessboard, bird's eye level approach to things. But sometimes you just hit a wall. And it just doesn't make any sense to throw good money after bad, does it? Which is why sometimes I just stop entertaining things. You know, I'll just stop talking about stuff. It's like, no, like that's settled as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'll answer a question. Maybe if somebody asks me a question about it that I can directly say, because that. But like the existence of women, I stopped debating that in the comments like a while ago. It's like, I'm not gonna sit here and relitigate for you why feminism exists. That is not why I'm here. You know, that's established. I did have an interesting troll last week, though. Did you see that? I left at least one of those unanswered because just, you know, the sort of person who comes in and asks a couple of bad faith questions that I answered in the video. And then when I said I answered them in the video, watch the video, they said, why wouldn't you answer my questions? I said, because they're in the, you know, it's like engage with the content. And we went around so many times with this. It was just kind of strange to me. I'm like, aren't we here to watch videos though? Not type in the comments? Like, what are you doing? And sometimes it is the bad faith is just so absurd. It makes it look so ridiculous. Like, it is a 10-minute video. I spent more time. You clearly spent more time typing the comment than it would have taken you to listen to the video. And I don't know. And that's another thing I've noticed is that a lot of people with this online discourse stuff, they tend to get really mad and start yelling when stuff doesn't make sense. And I find that I just, you know, not always, but a lot of the time I'm just like, wait a minute, no, you know, I just can't believe. I just can't. And so I find myself laughing at him. I will literally intend to sit down here and get angry at the camera because it does. It makes me angry. But in the course of walking through it to responded, I realized just how ridiculous some of this stuff truly is. And I cannot help but laugh. And I find myself laughing at some really weird people. Like I was laughing at Andrew Tate. Because he's ridiculous. Because the stuff that he says is absurd. He says it in this really masculine, aggressive, authoritative way, though, where he knows exactly what he's talking about. And maybe he thinks he does. You know, it's really hard to carry on a persona like that if you haven't convinced yourself. But, like, once you get past that, and actually, that's why I love the editing. I love having the opportunity to really, you know, tease apart these clips, or people are speaking off the cuff. So obviously they didn't intend it that way. And I have the advantage. It's a home field advantage in that way, right? I mean, that might be the most fun part for me, is really just sitting down and going, okay, what claims are being made here? And does this actually make any sense? And sometimes they do. And it's a really bad point. And sometimes they, you know, if I find something that I had, you know, that is true, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll give you that one. And it never changes the thesis. It never changes the bottom point, does it? It never does. But it sure makes me look weak in my position if I don't just give them something that they get. You know, credit where credit is due, right? I can afford it. So, but the anti-feminist stuff is always fun, and I'm trying to shift from so much of I was saying this a couple of weeks ago, from so much focusing on the trans stuff, because I mean, on the one hand, that's like beating your head against a brick wall in a couple of different ways. And I don't know, y'all. Oh my God. And that reminds me, for absolutely no reason, condolences to Brittany. Like, speaking of other ladies in the fight who are falling, oh my God. Like, I didn't really super look into it because it feels fucking morbid, like her husband died. So, condolences to Brittany. But anyway, no, when you're seeing, you know, this whole volley of arrows and everybody's getting taken down, like, I'm just not gonna go for the frontal assault. I'm just not. That doesn't make any sense. So. Get a little Machiavellian up in here. And I have dimples, so no one will ever suspect me, right, of being Machiavellian. And freckles. Like, that's not possible. People with freckles and dimples can't be Machiavellian. That's not possible. You're so... Oh, my God! What did you miss? Like a whole rant. Oh, my God. Yeah, right. Condolences to Brittany. You missed that. Because her husband was killed, I guess. That's so awful. Like, you should let me know when you're leaving. I won't bother with the rants, because you're the only one who responds to them half the time. Everyone else. Friend came back home and gave me a protein bar. Oh, right on. Right on. Oh, man. Brittany, yeah. And that's what made me think of it, because I was saying something about how I'm moving away from the trans stuff directly, at least partly because, you know, it's like banging your head against a brick wall. And I was thinking about how, you know, I'm seeing other people do the frontal assault on that and just get taken down. And I don't want to do that. And then, you know, speaking of ladies in the fray who have been taken down, I mean, I didn't look super into it because it just feels morbid. I don't know her that well, you know. I read her posts. You know, I liked her posts, which felt weird, you know, because I don't like that. Fucking hell. Didn't someone call Child Protective Services on her? Yeah. I forget which one it was, so I'm not going to say. Because I don't want to speak wrong. But yeah. Like, she has a rough go anyway, and I did not get the story of what it was that happened to him, but he is deceased, and it was at the hands of someone else against his own will. So that's just terrible. I don't know the details, but it just sounds like it's probably not a legit call. Right, yeah. No, that was... Did somebody do that again? Like now? That would be horrible. While she's in the middle of trying to figure out Excelsior did it. Oh, hey, Critical Kitty. That's kind of a gross place for internet trolls to go. Right, it wasn't even an internet troll, though. It was Excelsior. That's right. It was one of us. Okay, I did know that. Which is why I didn't want to try and name names, because I didn't want to hit the wrong one. Thank you. Yeah, that's who it was. And to say nothing of, the absolute implosion over there. And, I hate to say, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not in this for attention, because obviously I am. But I don't want the attention for my ego. I don't need it for my ego. Sometimes it's annoying. But no, 100% I can understand you wanting to stay that free. Plus, you said your piece on trans issues. Thank you, right? And I'm not going to say I'm not like swearing off it or anything, but I just feel like there are better uses of my time. Like I say, I have said my piece there. And I will say it again. If the opportunity presents itself, if somebody sticks a microphone in my face, I'm ready. You know what I mean? But that's not what feminism is either. That's not personally, from my own perspective, that's not my largest concern. It is a concern, though. And I do touch on it still. And I will continue to. But, okay. Aside from getting your videos thrown down a black hole, getting your videos reported, having God knows whatever strange tags put on your channels and your videos and whatever, which is just a nightmare. So nobody even hears anything you have to say anyway. It doesn't matter how pretty and how well edited and how well spoken it is. Nobody sees it. Aside from all of that, they changed the laws. What the fuck am I going to do about that? Bitching about it on the internet. All that's going to do is make me stressed out. And I think the best, what am I going to do? Campaign for the Democrats? What am I going to do? Campaign for the Republicans? I don't know. I feel kind of cornered on that one. Personally, I think a lot of the reason that got so nasty among them is that these folks in particular are very hateful, and their content is mostly about fomenting disgust towards trans folk. Yeah, right. Like I say, they didn't invite me to those club meetings, and I have a feeling I know why. I wouldn't fit in. After a while, that hatred is probably going to turn into being nasty towards other trans because they're the most nearby targets, right? The trans identifying crowd feed on the attention, especially the ones in the limelight, so you just give them fuel. Also, hi, Sarah. Yeah, long story short, kid's been home from school all week, which is why the video was kind of short this week, but he's doing better. He woke up feeling better this morning, but he slept until 10 o'clock. Finally got some sleep this morning. That's a long story, but he's gonna be okay. And yeah, while it's... Oh, but in terms of other topics, have you considered doing one on the whole man-bear discourse thing? Yeah, but first of all, I am a bit hesitant. I am very hesitant to really wade too deep into discourse that mainly happens on TikTok, because I do not TikTok. And I don't want to right now. So, that really just handicaps me terribly. You're rooting for a book club. Ooh, yeah. Are we going to read other people's books? Oh my gosh, I remember we talked about that. I need to write some stuff down. Where's my notebook? Because, yeah, we definitely need to brainstorm. At the moment, here it is. At the moment, I'm just kind of looking out there at what terrible feminist rhetoric I can find, and kind of, trying to correct a little bit of that where I can. I'm just kind of starting there and seeing what sticks, Please include Man Bear Pig in the video thumbnail if you do. Where does the pig enter into it? I mean, it's a nonsense question. Don't answer that. I've been in wilderness areas here in the Northwest for a long time. I know that men are a much greater threat to women's safety than bears. Right. In the woods. Right. I don't know. It's a strange question. I mean, basically, that video would just amount to me just sort of waxing rhapsodic for 10 minutes about like my random thoughts on the topic. If anyone's interested in that, I mean, that's basically what this is. But also, y'all get to interact with me, which to me is what makes this more fun. I don't know. But I got my notebook out and ready and everything. So, you like my slate? Isn't this thing cute? We've been using that for spelling words. I have been, I don't know about wilderness. Like, I would love to take you guys down. I've said this before. As like B-roll or something we were talking about for maybe chapter reads or something. But like down the hill from here is land that hasn't been touched by anything other than, the sewer people in a long time. And some of it not even that. Like there's this little patch of land on the other side of the creek that I swear to God that growth must be 100 years old. Those shrubs, the little ones that start like when they just spring up, those things are bigger than me. The branches, like I can just walk underneath them. They're like, okay, it's amazing. And it's just this tiny little patch of, nothing. This weird shaped little rocky piece of land that I guess nobody felt like they needed to build anything on. I don't know. But I wouldn't call it a wilderness in that it's also near the crux of two freeways, like inside the L, like about here, of two large freeways. So not only are there no bears, there's no deer there. There's nothing bigger in there than a raccoon. Because it's this tiny little isolated pot. It's weird. It's very quiet. My daughter and I were talking about going walking down there tomorrow. I hope the rain clears up by then. But yeah. As far as the toxic attitude, I personally just generally don't want to make my life about criticizing other people. That's not a productive way to spend my time, and I don't want to repeat myself. I don't know. I want to call it the artistic drive, to like grow and change in what you create. And like, that's what it is. But that sounds wicked pretentious. But I don't want to make the same video over and over again. I hear you. It also starts weighing you down after a while mentally. Oh, for sure. For sure. Which is why, like you say, you just end up being nasty to the people around you too. And that's not why I'm here. God damn it. That's the other thing. It's just, at the end of the day, it's like, no offense to anybody, but trans people are not why I'm here. They're not who I'm working for. Like, they're not who I'm working for. Not to get exclusionary or anything. I find gender discourse fascinating. Always have, but I limited myself to 1 day per week, and now, and that's worked much better. Yeah. You could look at it like cake, right? Or beer. Something that's full of calories. It's really not great for you, but you can indulge in on the off day, that it just isn't for it's a treat, right? It just isn't for every day. Oh my gosh. I tried to do true crime that way, and it didn't work. Like, oh no, I'm working for Big Witch. I mean, who said? Who told? Ah. And I find social discourse fascinating, okay? And it's really frustrating to me how that gray area of interplay between biology and behavior has been, like, they've tried to, like, freeze it, you know, and codify it in this way that just isn't, that's just not how that works. Am I into, am I big? I used to be. I used to be big into true crime. And at this point, we're talking 15 plus years ago. I go in bursts with crime stuff. Every couple months, I'll stumble across a really good thing and get super interested, but then it wanes. See, right. But so, like, I mean, I find that it is counterproductive for me to get really, really into somebody else's story. And I mean that both in the terms of I am writing a book or working on my own creative thing. And I'm just like trying to create, make my own life, like live my life and like stick with that narrative, like. And I find it really counterproductive to that, to have somebody else's narrative playing out in the back of my head, because I'm preoccupied with that. So I guess that falls in line with why I don't read like a whole lot of fantasy or anything like that. Because maybe I have focus problems. I don't know. At uni, I was taught by the UK's leading forensic archaeologist, so we learned how to do some of the investigative stuff, and it was really fun. Okay, that's cool. Sign me the hell up for that. Yeah. That's different than just sitting and like watching true crime files at night while you're folding laundry, right? Like, it's not quite the same thing. No, right? Forensics is such a fun subject. It is. But see, for me, and again, this may go back, to this is how I lean personally. I ended up going down the psychology angle from there. I contemplated that as a career. I feel like it would be pretty stimulating. Yeah. But that's how I ended up like watching stuff like that. I ended up discovering that I was more interested in like, why the fuck do people do things like that? What the, how, literally, I can't think of a better way to say it. So I ended up, it's not so much how did it happen, but what the fuck is, again, the story behind that. That's just how I think. And so I ended up going like the human story behind that. What is the thought process that went into that? Like, what the fuck is that, right? And I just developed this sort of like train crash fascination with that for years of. So, consequently, I can sit here and I didn't just learn it by rote, like I really am one of those people who likes to get a nice 3-dimensional, fleshed out, movable mental model of whatever it is I'm working with. So I would test my shit out, be like, oh, okay, I think this works like that. Let me go look up a murderer and see if that's how they did. Hobbies. But like, I got pretty good at it. So consequently, I can sit here and tell you all about narcissists and sociopaths and predators and boundaries and tricks to not fall prey to that stuff and counterintuitive shit. And like, I know that I don't need to watch the video of the top 10 serial killers active in the United States right now, because at any given time, there's like at least 100. The FBI said there's like easily 100 serial killers active in the United States at any given time, just as a random estimation. So, that weirdo, might be weirder than you think. That's entirely possible. And like, sometimes I wish I didn't know these things, Ooh, I have a hot take on narcissism. I don't think it's a thing most of the time. Narcissist seems like it's used to just mean person I don't like, maybe with some implications that they are a selfish individual. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say that I also have a hot take on narcissism, but it's not that. Like I say, it is a trait that can be good, that that only becomes negative in excess. What's up, baby boy? You're hungry? Okay. I have 45 minutes left on here. What can I give you? You want the rest of the yogurt fridge? No? Please don't bump the table.
I would like. Seriously, another one.
You want what, baby boy?
Some cereal.
Okay. I'm going to go pour him a bowl of cereal. I'll be right back.
I'll take out the shade one.
Okay. Let's see. Don't touch anything.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Here. Oh, thanks.
This has been going on for an hour. Yay. Christmas.
Okay. It's on the stove. Go on.
They were in complete silence.
You just sat there?
Yes.
Okay.
Going around.
Okay.
And staring at the camera.
Go eat your cereal. I hope that was fun for everyone. Yeah, anyway. Self-interest is a trait. Riveting. That's my boy. Self-interest is a trait that only becomes toxic in excess, right? So, and narcissism is something different. It's not just excessive self-interest. It's like cognitive dissonance on a deep built-in psychological level, like those foundational lessons you learned as a very small child contradict one another. So you spend your whole life in this ridiculous cognitive. I think it has different forms, honestly. I don't know, but I do know that it exists because like some people are just impenetrable. Okay, and when I say that, I mean people I've known for years and years and years. Kids gotta feed them every day. I know, right? What's with that? Oh, tangentially related thought on the biological differences stuff. Something I've observed in some women is that once they fall in love with someone, they almost lose self-preservation instincts. Yeah. What's with that? Can we talk about that? That's really interesting. I would love to talk about that, but I don't really have any more information on it than yes, I've noticed that too. And I have no scientific evidence whatsoever to back this up. David Hayward on All My Children was a full-blown narcissist at NPD. Like the character or the actor? Like a friend of mine who's still in love with a guy she knows once had his plans to murder-suicide her because she wouldn't abort his kid. Right. The character. Oh, okay. So that's probably an interesting portrayal. Yeah. My dad is actually narcissist diagnosed with NPD, which is rare in real life. So didn't make that up. We'll make of that what you will. Even with abusive girlfriends' wives, I've never seen them stick around to say, even men with abusive girlfriends' wives, I've never seen them stick around to the same degree. See, I would say that does happen. It does. It's more rare, though. It's more rare. I'll give you that. But I've definitely known one or two guys who just codependent. Absolutely codependent. I mean, that's what you're sitting there trying to say is that, I'm not going to sit here and say there's no codependent men. There definitely are. Someone once said this is why trans widows are a thing, but trans widowers aren't. Wives try to stick it out as long as possible, even if the marriage is really difficult for them. Yeah. There are also other factors involved in that besides lack of survival instinct, though, right? Some of that is your survival instinct. That's your home with your children in it. And the man who lives there has, helped you build that thing. Maybe priorities are different. I don't know. Also, I think there are just fewer women transitioning in their 50s, right? As a trans man, a lot of them are younger, so you just don't have the opportunity to get married, have a average life first, and then have a widower or whoever to leave behind in the first place, right? The guy in the 2019 Lifetime movie, My Mother's Killer Boyfriend, was a very high-order narcissist. The movie does a good job showing how they behave, how they think. Right on. I feel like this has come up before. Narcissists come up a lot because I know more than a few of them, and I think that a lot of it does stem from like a very deep-seated this lack of personal sense of having firm footing under you. I want to say security, but there's an overused word, right? I'm trying to actually describe the shit I'm talking about. Yeah, there are some. We had a recently transitioning trans mask person in their 40s back in the Dublin trans community, but for sure it's rarer. Right. So and then that's one of the things that exposes the differences and the dynamic there, right? Because why would you have fewer 50-year-old women all of a sudden realizing they've been men all along? That should be even, right? I mean, I know what my answer would be. But just hypothetically, assuming it's because all of a sudden there's more acceptance or whatever. Like it isn't. The AGB types get to be like 40 or 50. They're already secure enough, so they feel like they might as well indulge in it. Right. And I think there must be, going back to cognitive dissonance, okay? That is a pretty serious level cognitive dissonance where what you claim to believe, what you believe, and then how you behave do not add up, right? That's some pretty heavy level cognitive dissonance there. And that's the kind of thing where, yeah, if that dissonance goes deep enough, it can shake you to pieces if you pull the wrong piece out. I'm reading the Silver Surfer comic right now, the one where he goes to the far future and learns that a horrific mutant called the Overlord conquered the galaxy and has to be stopped. Oh, I haven't read that one. Or any of them. Spoiler alert. I haven't. I can't say I don't read comics because I have read and very much enjoyed the odd comic. But I don't really read comics. I think a large part of it is the older AGP type transitioners. Just haven't often had people tell them they're full of it after multiple decades of usually white male privilege. That one's from 1969, huh? So classic. Right on. So they feel confident saying they know what womanhood is like in the face of right. No, and that's another part I've come to. And, the true crime shit is part of this, actually. It's funny that has already been brought up because at a certain point, I reached emotional saturation with that shit. Not everyone in the world is a horrible person, and I do not have to surround myself mentally and fill my mind with this shit. I don't have to care why some man thinks he's a woman. Do I? Right? I mean, I do. It was very interesting to learn about all of that. Let me tell you. And, I sort of had a taste of the reverse, like a little bit, like a tiny little bit, but like, it was more because I had a crush on a guy and I was trying to imitate him. I don't know. 100%. If you consume that stuff too much, it'll start influencing your perception of others, even if you're aware it's not statistically likely. Right. I got into a disagreement with a trans woman yesterday on this topic. Very unpleasant experience. Oh, I'm sorry. Do tell. How did that happen? I'm so sorry. Oh, I would not recommend that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't need to convince him that he's not a woman. He's just not. It isn't my job to convince him of that, and I do not feel that it is. Like, I'm not trying to convince myself. It's more like, oh, that's right. Whew, that's not my problem. Like. And I just got burnt out. I just have become so exhausted. With always being the one who tries to see the perspective other than my own. Who always tries to, what do they call that? Like borrowing perspectives. Like, I'm stupid good at that. I can put myself in someone else's shoes to the point where I rationalize myself out of my own viewpoint. Okay? And it got to the point where it was reflexive enough that I would like not speak up for myself. Yeah, it's not your job. What's the group? Because I'm an admin of a discussion group on Facebook. She responded to a comment I made in a Facebook group. She's the admin of the group. Wow, so you might know this person. Woo-hoo, small world, huh? Being dogmatic, yeah. I don't think I've seen you in my one, but there's a chance. Chat Junction. Wow. That sounds like one of those generic old Yahoo chat rooms, does it? That's funny. Oh, okay, no, that's not the one I'm in. Okay. Close, but no cigar. Oh, well. Yeah, and I don't know. After a certain point, I just became exhausted with always, like, literally living in other people's heads. It got to the point, especially with children, you're trying to, like, view things from their perspective so you can't anticipate their needs, right? And that applies real well to that. But it didn't play very well into the whole me forming and maintaining my own, did it? So, I don't know. Eventually, and maybe this happened to me early, I've heard this, it's kind of like stuff I've heard women say with the change, right? That you just find yourself less interested in what the fuck why other people are doing what they're doing and why. Because you're busy, you know? You have your own shit to do. God forbid you should be preoccupied with your stuff in your life. And a lot of times from older women, these people are shocked by this because, you know, you're a kindly old lady. You're supposed to be willing to sit and listen and smile, and you're supposed to be interested in everything anybody has to say about anything because you've never been anywhere or done anything. Like, what the fuck? I don't understand. I don't know. Oh, bye, Scott. I gotta go. Okay. Oh, happy Mother's Day to whoever is the mother in your life. I forgot that's coming up. Is that why my mom is coming to visit? My mom is coming to visit next week. Why? I don't know. When? I have some big idea. How long are they going to be staying? I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna get to meet her new boyfriend. And his daughter. He's older than me. So at least there's that, right? It's an visit. It's a what? Really? Why? Like, yeah. I basically went no contact on her 5 years ago or so. My mom left physical earth in 2009, so now I wish other moms happy Mother's Day. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I mean, back at you. I don't know exactly how to say that, but the spirit is returned, okay? um, anyway, so these connections have been maintained by other people. So I got to hear about all about her love scam from last year when we went up to visit over New Year's, and now she's gonna bring her new boyfriend down here with his daughter for some reason. It's not because they're best friends, I'll tell you that right now. You know, and long story short, I decided I didn't want to hang out with this woman anymore because after a decade of building a friendship, after my son was born, I went up there to take care of her while she was waiting for a transplant. She was literally at death's door, okay? And she was going to be on immunosuppressants for the rest of her life, one way or the other. So I went about cleaning and organizing her house, which was inexcusable. Okay, I was given the 7th grade click treatment. She and my sister ordered pizza and watched movies without telling me they were going to order pizza or watch a movie. Why? What the fuck? My phone is ringing. Are you serious? Hello? Uh-huh. I sure do. I think that would just make his day. No, thank you. I'm good. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Bye. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be also the last week of school because long story short, she reminded me of what she was like when I was a little kid. While she was fucking dying, I'm like, you're a petty 12-year-old and you can't even, like, I'm your firstborn child. We can't even be buddies when you're dying. Like, I'm done. I can't. And, just for my own sanity, I'm not going to, I didn't even be like, I'm not going to text you anymore. I didn't even make a thing about it. I literally just stopped texting her and I stopped calling her. And the relationship absolutely went in the shitter. Like, it's absolutely disappeared. And now she texts my husband, as if she can't talk to me. It's like, I never said that. I never blocked her on anything. I never said, okay. It's so dumb. Again, it's petty 12-year-old behavior. Thank you. And yeah, next week is last week of school. And why exactly she decided to come down then, I do not know. Ironically, it's something about somebody's graduation, which, like, our daughter is supposed to be graduating high school, and she's going to have to do summer school and isn't going to walk, which is a long story, but she doesn't know any of that because we're just not tight like that and haven't been for some time. Because she's just, an unrepentant bitch and I don't need it. And I was talking with a friend of mine the other day where, like, if your kids have that reaction, like in this, might be another video either next week or the week after. Oh, wait. So this visit, she just set up on her own after that? No, like I say, we saw her over New Year's. We went up there to visit various people, friends and family over New Year's. And one of them was her. And like I say, she kind of texts off and on with my husband. So it's not completely out of the blue, but like she was not invited and did not check with me. Or like ask if we had anything going on. Or anything like that. It was just, hey, I'm coming by from another state. It's like, okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be kind of funny because, like I said, she's bringing her new boyfriend and his daughter. So, like, I can't wait to see what the dynamic is like there. Oh, that's going to be funny. Yeah, no, that's a bit much. You just don't need to invite yourself. Yeah, right. And that's just from another state. Like, it's going to take them 8-9 hours to drive down here. And I just, I don't know. I just have to sit back and laugh because she doesn't have anything on me anymore. But, like, I wish the kids could have a real grandma, No. Anyway, enough about that. Blah. We only have another 20 minutes. What haven't we fully speculated about yet? We had a couple of fun ones going about biology versus behavior and, well, I don't know. I guess I'd like to go back to my thesis, which was for the week, which is just that we're never going to be able to discuss any of that stuff. We're never going to be able to figure out where exactly behavior and biology meet and how that works. If the minute anybody admits that sex matters, that, in that discussion, we just go right back to patriarchal tiering. Okay, that is not what that has to mean. Why women lose self-preservation instincts in a relationship. Oh, yeah. Gee. Now that I've reread that and you said that like that, childbirth. The end. Like, that's why. Oh, man. Why would women lose self-preservation instinct involved in pair bonding? Well, I'm going to go with childbirth. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Because women who successfully managed to do that probably had more babies. Oh, and men have that too. Men have that. Definitely, there's a masculine version of the time has come to sacrifice myself for the greater good. Like, they have their version of that, right? They make it so that the conversation has to be either about one biology or right. Exactly. All or nothing. And it's just not that. You want to talk about something that's actually a spectrum. So yeah, I just had that thought now, just reading that back. That from a species, a survival standpoint, a larger species survival standpoint, that would be part of female pair bonding. That makes sense. And of course, the masculine version of that is into the breach, boys, right? Like they have their own version of that. Because back in the day, if you're a woman and you have strong self-preservation instincts, you'd probably choose to ignore the urge to have kids, or you would have fewer of them, which is going to have a knock-on effect down through the generations, right? We got to remember, humans are also animals. A 50-50 chance of dying. I don't think it was that bad. Like, nature is not that evil. Come on, it's not that bad. Right, but so even if they would choose to have fewer children. Right, so it adds up genetically down through the generations, and that's the kind of thing that I'm just sitting back going, wow. Like I say, with epigenetics, right? And your behavior and your environment affect what genes, that you have anyway, get switched on sometimes, and that's just amazing and terrifying. And people I feel like people don't want to look at that because they're like, but free will. It's like, how are you ever going to actually have free will? How are you ever going to actually enact a clear-sighted will if you don't understand how you're interfacing with the world? That's not possible, right? It's trippy as fuck, honestly, the whole genes getting switched on thing. Right. You want to talk about something people don't want to look at because it's creepy, right? I love callbacks. It should have been a comic. I love callbacks. But, it is trippy as fuck, and it's... I don't know, so obvious to me. So, it's like I'm sitting here watching everybody huff glue, and they're all walking around wondering why they're dizzy and nauseous and blaming ghosts. And it's like, if you guys would stop huffing that glue, get away from the glue, you feel better. And they don't want to believe that because they love the glue. That was a bit of a mixed metaphor, I think. I don't know. It's been a bit of a mixed morning, a bit of a crazy day. And I gotta go there in here in a minute and see if he actually eat that cereal and look at those spots that he had, and hopefully, I don't know, he's acting like he's feeling so much better. So, I really feel like you and I should have just a conversation sometime, because I end up dominating because I'm just like blah 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 blah, and you're typing, which is like slower, and then there's the internet connection, and I feel like we could have a really fun conversation. If we could actually have a discussion. But alas, someday. And that would be the kind of thing where the boring looking kind of old fashioned dressed middle-aged lady and the trans woman in I don't know, flared pants or something goes out for coffee, and people are like, what is that? What's going on there? Right? Aren't you going to have a discussion with... Yes, I really, really do want to do that. There's really only one thing that's stopping me, and that's it. I don't know how the fuck to do that. Do they have to have a camera too? I mean, I guess they do. They don't have to be on camera, but you have to have I don't know. I've never... I should get, a trusted friend to help me test it out on the other end or something, right? Because it's a whole thing, or she also has gotten her boyfriends into it. A close friend of mine is quite into BDSM. We've had some interesting combos about it. Yeah. And outside of certain very strict parameters, I have difficulty supporting that kind of thing. Because I firmly believe that human relations should not be directly transactional. I think that that's. Did we collect water again? How are we collecting water again? Oh my gosh, I might have to get off here and go stick a hole through that thing. Because I think the pain and pleasure parts of the brain are really close. Oh, and that's actually another where biological influence thing is quite interesting. Yeah. That's in nature versus nurture because, which is where, again, Judith Butler does have a point in that we do create ourselves through our experiences, especially as you're building literally your brain as a young developing person. And, you can get a cross wire in there so that your brain literally functions funny and messes with your experience of the world. That's a real thing. What up, Red? How you doing? No worries if you need to end early once the stream ends. I'm going to go grocery shopping on this really nice route through the park with the sun shining. Oh, that does sound nice. I'm just going to go poke at the tarp really quick. We survived the tornado. Yeah, right? That was fun. Look, guys, a thunderstorm. Ooh, seriously, though, I'll be right back. Again, because I do not want that thing to fill with water and, collapse on me while I'm sitting here watching it. That would just be stupid. Okay. Oh. Y'all, assuming that everything is okay with that boy. Oh. Wow. Would you like to learn the difference? One of them is on land and the other one is on water. The ones on land are just a big wind, spinny. And the ones on water have ocean water in them and are like way, way, way bigger. That's the main thing. On a sort of random note, not only have I made another trans woman friend for the first time recently, I've been reconnecting with one who cut ties with me a while ago for being a TERF. And it's so nice. Oh, that is nice. Been dreaming of those days, right? When maybe people start crawling out of the woodwork and hoping you won't bring that up. Flying water. Yes. Yes. A hurricane is flying water. You should look at some footage of that shit sometime. It's wild. Okay. Yeah. 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 Being British, you maybe don't realize just how calm the weather really is over there until you start venturing out and it's crazy out here, man. Yes. Yes, they are. And people just evacuate, and you just gotta hope your house doesn't just get blown away. And that is yep. And the tornadoes are just wind, so they can also be bloody terrifying, though. Really, I can't believe, seriously, if you've never seen any real footage of this stuff, boy, are you in for a treat, okay? Man. Huh. Just your average Category 4 tornado is, makes you think maybe the Wizard of Oz wasn't quite so fantastical after all. Really. The idea that shit blew her house to another world, does not appear to be entirely outside the realm of possibility looking at one of those things. So I highly recommend just go look at some footage of water flying sideways. Not even kidding. Absolutely terrifying. One of the lovely parts about living here in the middle of the continent is we don't get that. And like I say, historically they don't have tornadoes here either because we're in the mountains. Oh, you are? To what part? And why? A friend of mine is getting married and she's flying me out to be there. Oh, that's awesome. Whereabouts? Like what? You don't have to say where exactly, but what region? State? If you don't mind my asking. Los Angeles. Oh, okay. So you're going to get the cookie cutter version of America. You're going to get the Hollywood version of America. And depending on what parts of Los Angeles you go to, possibly the dirtiest, grubbiest, scariest parts of America. Yeah, that's awesome. That is exciting. Next year, you said? Yeah, cool. Oh my God, you're going to go to LA in the summer? I have never been to Los Angeles, but it is in Southern California, and I hear tell that summer is not its best season, but her current neighborhood is real dangerous. I'm hoping she's moved by then. Yeah, right? Ooh. But I also know they have like massive traffic problems there because it is one of the most sprawling metropolitan areas on the planet. And you know what? You'll be able to tell me this because I have from people in the entertainment industry get blazed out of my mind on edibles. Oh yeah, right. Probably die of heat stroke, but we vibe. No, but so I have specifically heard tell that Los Angeles makes London look quaint. Okay. That as a Londoner, as an English person, like, this is a music business thing. A lot of times people like in, London working and then, the big record industry, the big company will sign them and fly them to LA, right? And apparently, going from London to LA is like a whole other world, and it makes London look downright homey by comparison, is what I have been told. Or what I have heard anyway. They weren't talking to me. Please don't your mind on edibles. Yeah, none of that stuff is legal where you are, is it? It's so interesting. Wow, I mean, London is too much urbanization even for me. Right. And that's what I'm saying is that London has the reputation for being just kind of sprawling and endless and has swallowed up all of these little boroughs, right? And then Los Angeles is like that, but on steroids with giant freeways and like. Frankly, the stories about it have made me never want to go there because Disneyland is there too in Anaheim anyway. No, and so that's what I'm saying. Like culturally speaking, we kind of get this place. And being from a place this Cleveland is like this patchwork of little boroughs too. So like I do get it. I understand that Anaheim is not, this region or that town or that borough or whatever. CBD is legal, but THC is not. Oh, so you're in the same basket as we are. Isn't that grand? Isn't that stupid? Anyways, yeah, looking forward to your take on LA. That sounds interesting. I don't know. We're different enough that like you're probably gonna love it and have a great time and never want to go home. Because to me, it sounds like a nightmare. But again, if I had my druthers, I would just be in the woods. So, yeah, the idea that Los Angeles is not my cup of tea is probably a shock to no one. But it's like millions of people's cup of tea, apparently. I've been wrong before, or it's just, a matter of opinion, perhaps. Oh, we got 5 minutes. That's why I'm looking to settle down in Belfast. I mean, it sounds like a nightmare too. I prefer urban areas. Okay, not sprawling suburban stuff. Yeah, is Belfast like a nice little compact town? You can pretty much see the countryside from wherever you are in Belfast. It's a nice small city. Right on, right on. Cool. Oh my goodness. I read something interesting about the British Isles recently that as a natural feature, the island of Britain is the most naturally depleted place on Earth. I'm like, what? They still have trees and birds and bugs there. What? Oh my god! Just because of millennia, of both the habitation and then the isolation of it being just a small little area. Which, as an American, I guess I would say that, but compared to the mainland, it is an island after all. My parents are buying me a house in Belfast, which is going to be de facto serve as a second home for the rest of my family. Oh, that's awesome! Oh, how awesome! When are you guys going to be pulling the trigger on that? After you finish your PhD, I presume, right? That sounds like a graduation present, right? That's awesome. Oh my god. Oh. Wait, you have a spare bedroom. Does that mean I could come visit you? How cool would that be? The paperwork is currently being processed. I'll move in as soon as it's available. Oh my god! That's so cute. Congratulations, then. Yeah. Oh. That's awesome. And an excuse for me to go to Ireland someday. Like I say, I have to go to England. Why not I know anyone who lives in Northumberland? Why? And because no one lives in Northumberland. I know. But I'm laughing at myself because they would pick a location that's out in the middle of nowhere. I'm excited about it for my mother also. She suffers from severe OCD and it's very much linked to the family home. Really? But she also doesn't have an interest in going anywhere if her kids aren't involved. Oh my god. So that sort of solves the problem for her. Yeah. I would love to hear, well, I mean I wouldn't really, but I am curious how OCD is like directly related to the home like that. So this way she gets to actually have a holiday home where she can go to get some peace of mind. That's awesome. I'm just not sure how you would have, I mean, associated with the family home. I mean, I can imagine. It sounds awful. Her OCD is about dirt, and the home produces a lot of it. It's clearly tied to things that stress her out. Oh, okay, so like if it's not someone else's home, it becomes less of a problem. Linked to my father as well. Is he still around? Um, but oh, we'll give it an extra 5 minutes because I was late. Okay, because it's 2:00. Oh, your father is alive. Okay, so your father gives your mother stress. Is that what I'm hearing? Imagine. That does sound stressful. He has a lot over the years, yeah. He's always been a chronic alcoholic and that caused a lot of problems for her. Yeah. Oh, God. That's just awful. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm sure that was stressful for everybody. But see, this is where sometimes my mind would run to, trying to figure out what the heck is that person thinking? Why do they behave that way? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't need to do that. I don't need to figure him out. Doesn't even need to arrange it with me. Yeah, right. And Belfast is small enough so she can actually walk from the coach station to the house. So once the deal is done, she can just have a spare key and come and go whenever she likes. So they're in Ireland already. Is that? I want to say that's what, but I guess I don't have to feel guilty about not knowing where your parents live, do I? So. My notebook got wet and everything, you guys. What a crazy morning. Oh. Yeah. No, but you can get coaches from London to Belfast. What? Wait. What? What? Hang on. Wait. God damn it. Okay. But still, what? I thought it was a little more inland than it is. There's like an inlet there. So that does make okay. Ferry coaches. Okay. But like again, if you've never been somewhere, look at that map and tell me that it doesn't at first glance look like that's like kind of inland because there's an inlet there. And I was just like, I was with you. I'm sorry. Oh my god. The coach thing was important to Mother because she's scared of X-rays, so she doesn't like flying. They're ferry coaches. The coach goes to a port, goes on a ferry, and then okay. That does sound pretty cool. Oh, I'm laughing far too hard at that because I needed a good laugh today. Thank you so much. Ooh. Ah. Mm. That's awesome. And it's nice to be able to provide for the people that you love, isn't it? Thanks. Yeah. And thanks for helping me make it a good one, Like seriously, you're my main person who like actually shows up and talks to me in the comments for some reason. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. But thanks. You know, dig hanging with you. And I guess I'll see you next time. You know, leave me a comment under the video or something. Let me know what you thought, okay? And sorry to end the chill time, but I gotta go. So you too. Bye.